My father carved the turkey with the precision of a surgeon and the authority of a king. Yet tonight felt different. The air carried a charge, a tension that made my mother fidget with her pearl necklace and caused my brothers to exchange significant glances. I adjusted my plain black sweater and took another bite of mashed potatoes, savoring the familiar comfort of my mother's cooking. My phone buzzed silently inside my purse, but I ignored it. Whatever Forbes wanted could wait until after dinner. "Sarah," my father began, setting down his carving knife with a ceremonial flourish. "There's something important we need to discuss as a family." Michael and David. My two brothers straightened in their chairs. Michael's wife, Jennifer, looked almost eager, while Patricia, David's spouse, barely disguised a smirk. Their sons, Jake and Tommy both, college students, lifted their eyes from their phones with only mild curiosity, of course. "Dad," I replied softly, reaching for my water glass. "What's on your mind?" As always, before a weighty announcement, my father cleared his throat. "I've been working with the estate attorney to finalize my will. Your mother and I have made some decisions about the inheritance." The room fell into silence, broken only by the crackling fireplace in the adjoining living room. I continued eating, though I could feel their eyes fixed on me. "The business, the properties, the investments, they will be divided between Michael and David," my father declared, his voice carrying the weight of a judge delivering sentence. "They have proven themselves capable of handling such responsibility." Slowly I nodded, cutting another piece of turkey. "I understand." My mother leaned forward, her tone soft yet condescending. "Sarah, honey, it's not that we don't love you. You've just always been different. That little computer job, living in your tiny downtown apartment, you've never shown interest in real business." Michael straightened his designer tie and cleared his throat. "Exactly. The construction company needs someone who understands contracts, negotiations, development. Jennifer and I have worked closely with Dad for years," David added, his arm draped around Patricia, "and the restaurant chain requires hands-on management. Vendors, staff, multiple locations, it's not really your strength." I sipped from my wine. Bordeaux, more expensive than most people's rent, though none of them knew I had quietly added it to their collection the month before. "You're absolutely right," I said calmly. "I wouldn't know the first thing about running multiple businesses." Relief softened my father's expression. "I'm glad you understand, sweetheart. This doesn't mean we don't value you. There will be a trust fund enough to keep you comfortable." "Perhaps 50,000. Jennifer beamed. "It's really for the best, Sarah. Michael and I are planning expansions. We'll put the inheritance to good use. In fact, we're considering buying that new development downtown." Patricia chimed in. "The luxury condos overlooking the harbor. David says it's a gold mine." I nearly choked on my wine. Harborview Residences, the very project I had financed and owned through my firm. The same one that had generated over $30 million in profit last quarter. "That sounds like a wonderful investment." I managed, keeping my voice steady. Jake frowned, glancing from his phone. "Wait, isn't that the building where Aunt Sarah's comp? Sarah doesn't have a company." "Honey," Michael cut in quickly, "she just works in computers." For someone else, I smiled at Jake. "That's right. I just do coding work for others." Again, my phone buzzed, more insistent this time. Emma, my assistant, flashed across the screen. Likely a message about the European merger, or perhaps the pharmaceutical acquisition had gone through. Either way, it could wait. My father lifted his glass. "To family, and to ensuring the business legacy continues with those best prepared to handle it." Glasses lifted all around, except mine. I was still focused on my plate. "Sarah," my mother urged. "Oh, sorry." I raised my glass half-heartedly. "To family?" As we drank, David leaned back smugly. "You know, Sarah, maybe this will push you to find a husband. Settle down. A woman your age shouldn't live alone in some cramped apartment, working all night on computers." "David," my mother scolded gently, though she clearly agreed. "No." "He's right," I said, cutting into my turkey. 32 is getting up there. I should think about my future more seriously." A third buzz? Emma again persistent. "It must be urgent." But in the Thompson household, nothing interrupted my father's pronouncements. Tommy, 19, and home from Harvard, scrolled idly through his phone before freezing. His eyes widened, darting between his screen and me. "Ah, Aunt Sarah." "Yes, sweetheart." "I just got a news alert." Forbes published their updated billionaire list. The table carried on with chatter. But I saw Tommy's expression pale as he reread the screen. "That's nice." "Honey," Jennifer murmured, slicing his turkey. But Tommy didn't respond. "Aunt Sarah," he repeated, his voice cracking. "There's someone on this list. With your name." The conversation slowed as heads turned. "What do you mean, dear?" my mother asked. Tommy's hand trembled as he held up his phone. "Sarah Thompson, number 47 on the Forbes billionaire list. Net worth." He swallowed hard. $3.8 billion. The room went dead silent. David laughed nervously. "That's obviously another Sarah Thompson. It's a common name." But Tommy was staring at me. "It says she's the founder and CEO of Quantum Dynamics, the AI company that just acquired MedTech. She's 32, from this city." His gaze dropped to the photo on his screen, then lifted to me. "And she looks exactly like Aunt Sarah." Forks stopped. Glasses froze midway. Only the fire crackled in the silence. My father's face turned ashen. That's impossible." I cut another bite of turkey. "Is it?" Michael snatched Tommy's phone, hands shaking. Jennifer peered over his shoulder, her mouth falling open. "The photo?" she whispered. "It's her." My mother stared as though seeing me for the first time. "Sarah, is this a joke?" I set down my fork, wiped my lips with the napkin, and said evenly, "What would you like to know?" It was appropriate. Michael's face drained of color. You bought Dad's companies." "Technically, my investment firm did." "You needed cash flow and capital to expand. I supplied it." His voice was barely audible. "You've been our partner for 6 months." "Silent investor," I corrected. "I prefer staying in the background." David scrolled frantically again. "Sarah, there are photos of you at galas, summits, even meetings with world leaders. How did none of us ever notice?" I use my middle name professionally as Sarah Elizabeth Thompson. "And I don't attend many local events." Patricia shook her head. "But why keep it secret? Why let us believe?" "Believe what?" I cut in. "That I was a failure. That I needed your guidance. That I was the family disappointment." The words struck the table like stones. My nephew Jake finally looked up from his screen, reverence in his eyes. "Aunt Sarah, this says you're one of the youngest self-made billionaires ever. That you built the company while working full-time to pay for school." "I worked in a coffee shop," I said, "and freelanced as a coder." My mother began to cry, though I couldn't tell if it was shock, shame, or something deeper. "Sarah, sweetheart, we didn't know." I know my father set down his phone, hands trembling. This inheritance discussion was perfectly reasonable. "Yes," I finished for him. "You're dividing your assets among the children you think can handle them." "That makes sense." Michael looked sick. "But we just told you. You wouldn't get anything. That you didn't deserve, and I agreed. I wouldn't know how to run a construction company or restaurant chain, but you already own them." David protested weakly. "Through a management company," I replied. "I just sign checks and attend quarterly meetings. That's not the same as running them." The Christmas dinner lay forgotten, plates cooling as the family tried to process. "Development is mine, too." The silence deepened. Tommy's voice broke it. "This article says you're launching sustainable, affordable housing projects, 5 developments across the city." "5 is correct," I said. "The last one was approved yesterday." My father's eyes swept the table before settling on me. "Sarah, I owe you an apology for what?" I asked. "For underestimating you? For dismissing you? For assuming, Dad." I said gently, "You don't owe me anything. You made choices based on what you knew. I never corrected you." Michael leaned forward desperately. "But why hide it? Why keep us in the dark?" I thought for a moment, then set down my glass. Because I liked having one place where I could just be Sarah. Not the CEO, not the billionaire. Just your daughter, your sister, your aunt? Loved for who I am not, what I've built. The words hit the table like a hammer, Patricia whispered. But we don't love you. Do you? I asked softly. That hasn't been clear for a long time. My mother sobbed harder. That's not true. We love you so much. You love the version of me who needs saving. The daughter who makes you feel wise. The sister who lets you feel superior. But you don't love the real me. David shook his head. That's unfair. You hid who you are. No, I said. I hid what I do. Who I am hasn't changed. I'm still the one who helped you study, David. The one who taught Michael to code. The one who babysat your kids, remembered birthdays, okay, and never missed an event. The truth settled over us like a heavy blanket. My phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen. A message from Emma. European merger approved. Need your signature by midnight. Pharmaceutical acquisition complete. $2.3 billion transfer confirmed. I began typing my reply. I hurried. Drop the documents at my apartment. I'll sign tonight. When I glanced up, every face at the table was turned toward me. My father, cautious, asked, "Work?" I answered lightly, "Just closing a couple of acquisitions. Nothing that can't wait until after dessert." Jennifer looked white as a sheet. I laughed softly and said, "Couple of acquisitions," as if I'm just doing grocery shopping. Tommy, absorbed in printouts, waved an article. Aunt Sarah, in that interview, you said your biggest regret was not spending more time with family, but we never made time for you. You made time for the version of me you liked. My father rose and began to pace. Sarah, what we said tonight, how we judged your choices, came from what we assumed about your life. I don't blame you. Michael's voice was small. We blame ourselves. I scanned my kin, really looked. My father, self-made man who never asked about my path. My mother, anxious about my finances while I quietly built an empire. My brothers, who mocked my modest habits while I reshaped industries. At last I spoke. Proposal. Finish dinner. Have dessert. Exchange gifts. Then we start again. Start again. My mother asked. Yes, learn who I truly am. And I'll learn who you are when you're not trying to protect your struggling daughter. My father sank back into his chair. How do we fix this? He asked. You don't need to fix anything, I said. Decide whether you want the real me or to keep the idea of me. Silence fell. Jake broke it. Aunt Sarah, can I ask about your AI work? I'm studying CS and your diagnostic systems are wow. My smile finally arrived, genuine and warm. I'd love to explain. Tommy, quieter, added, tell us about the Cancer Research Center. PMED sounds incredible, of course. My father's expression shifted, maybe respect. Would you walk us through your work? It might take time. 8 years isn't a quick story. We have all the time, my mother said. I nodded. First, let's enjoy this wonderful meal. Then the inevitable, the inheritance. I meant what I said. I told them. Michael and David should run the family businesses. They know them. David looked puzzled. But you could buy and sell father's companies many times over. Exactly. I don't need them. You do? The legacy belongs to those who will cherish it. My father teared up. Sarah, you built something amazing. You gave people jobs. You cared for our family. I'm proud of you, especially now, because we can finally be honest. I took another bite of turkey and grinned. Who wants to hear how I accidentally transformed medical diagnostics while trying to build a better scheduling app? For once, they listened. Really listened. The Forbes ranking had altered the outside world, but not who I was. Still Sarah Thompson. Devoted to family despite our fractures. Yet now they could love me fully. We talked until well past midnight. Questions, laughter, tears, those small, fragile first steps. ROE, relationship founded on truth. Driving my reliable Honda back to my compact downtown apartment, I smiled. Tomorrow I would return to changing the world. Tonight, however, I simply savored being known. Pulling into my parking space, I felt something immeasurable, more valuable than any Forbes list.